Hello there, my name is Planix. I'm the creator of the PlenBotLogUploader and PlenBot itself. I'm here to showcase the uploader and how it works and give some very nice ideas on how to set up the uploader as like a complete bare bone with Discord integration. So what the uploader is, it uploads the arcdps files as soon as they're created from boss kills or failed attempts of course killing the bosses to dps.repot, and it can display those links in either Discord or in stream chat in Twitch or on Twitch. So this video is going to be about setting up the bare bone setting, which is mostly just setting up how to use Discord webhooks, because not everyone is a streamer. And I will be using a special dummy server I have created called PlenBot Testing Ground, which is this one. It's a very bare bone server. It's just a completely new server I have just made for this testing purposes. So what I have done here is I have downloaded the exe file, which is this particular file, and it's the PlenBotLogUploader. If you want to get to here and download this file, go to the GitHub. I do have like a dark mode on, so yeah, that might be a little bit different. And what you can do is you can either go here to the installation and press download, which will get you to the release page on GitHub, or click on the releases. So you can download the latest release. Latest release, which I'm going to showcase today, is 67. It's actually the one which I will be publishing as soon as this video is live as well, just so I can demonstrate some of the use cases of the PlenBotLogUploader, since it was very requested anyway. So as I mentioned, this will be a very bare bones scenario where I will be just trying to set up a very simple application which is going to use Discord webhooks in order to integrate some information about both what has happened and what could happen in Guild Wars 2, especially considering the arcdps logs. So before I start with the uploader itself, I will showcase some very important logging settings I would hardly recommend everyone to running, not just only with my uploader, but overall this is probably the best setting that you could do. So it depends on what you want to do, of course, but I do run on mostly only PvE, but occasionally I do run Robust as well. So I will display some things about it as well, or say some things about it as well. Of course, what you need to have is save EBTC logs after encounter. This is a must-have, because otherwise, if you do not have this toggled, no logs will be created at all, and well, there's nothing to download if nothing is created. Nothing to upload if nothing is created. So what I also recommend is log target to encounter NPC, which is gonna help you not just in the logging or in the logs itself, but also in Arc. It behaves a little bit better if you lock it specifically to the logs. Of course, when you have, like, let's say the damage display here, you can sword versus target, sword per second, etc. I would just recommend having a log target encounter turned on. I will skip this setting because I will explain it in detail a little bit later. But I personally use NPC name in EBTC file save path, which gives me the ability to hold on. Okay, good. I was worried it might display something I was, not wanting to show. But if you do have a log created and you press open here and you have nothing set here, this will open the default log path, which is under the documents folder in the currently logged in user. So as you can see, I have essentially every boss under its own folder, so I can just, let's say, open like a Berg files, and now I have access to all the Berg logs, which is the trio logs I had like saved since like 2 months ago. So that is very helpful to navigate in files, which I will explain why it's probably a good thing. And the last thing is compress logs with PowerShell. This is a very good tool to use. If you do not toggle this on by yourself, the uploader will try to do this for you, essentially, by doing it manually. But I would recommend having this on What this does, it creates, instead of creating .evtc files, it will create .zvtevtc file. Long story short, zvtc file is simply zipped evtc file. It's just running a normal Windows zip. So this is what this setting does. It will compress it inside like a zip folder, and instead I can technically showcase it on the standard Golem I have tried earlier. You can see that like a standard kitty Golem, this Golem in the background, can produce like 20 kilobytes of logs if it's zipped, but if it's not zipped, it's 200. So you can see that if, let's say I would be doing a full boss, instead of having like a 1 or 2 megabytes logs, I would be uploading 12 to 15 megabyte logs. That's not a good thing to share, especially when you just want to share the file itself. It makes it much more difficult to do so. So I would recommend having the compress logs on. It only works on Windows 10 and Windows 11. You can actually make it work on Windows 8 and Windows 7 as well if you still use it, if you do have particular things with PowerShell installed, but it's a very weird hack which doesn't always work. It's native to Windows 10. Everyone who has Windows 10 does have access to PowerShell. That's why it says Windows 10 here. It of course works on Windows 11. I'm currently on Windows 11 to showcase that it's actually working on Windows 11 as well. But yeah, I would definitely recommend compressing, having it turned on for this particular purposes. And just a small thing outside of that, I will talk a little bit about War vs. World. Don't forget, if you want to have War vs. World logs, you do have to have this toggle turned on. Minimum squad participants, I would recommend to 5 to 10, depending on what you usually play. And that's kind of like all the settings you want to here do. Maybe minimum player enemy participants also put up to 10. So like very short fights when it's like 15 guys versus one guy who's just AFK would turn into a log. Yeah, you might not want it. So you might just play around with this. But those are just strictly settings within ArcdPS. And now let's talk about the uploader. So it's presumed the situation here that we want to create a Discord webhook, which will simply post link to Discord. This link can have a little bit more settings. It can display a little bit more information that we would like to showcase, and well, I certainly will. So let's start. So this is, as I said before, this is the log uploader, the one I downloaded. This is the release 67, which is going to be released as soon as the video is done, as I already mentioned. And let's launch it. So first thing it does, you can see that it did create some files here and there. Also a thank you for using the uploader. You can contact me directly via Discord or GitHub. We also have a very special Discord server for technical issues with this particular software. It's called PlenBot support line. So as you can see, it created my log folder here, including my name. So that's why there is like a, you know, a black square there just to block it. But yeah, that is my name. It found that I actually had this folder, so it just automatically sets me up. But I will try to, well, if you want to then set it up manually, or you change the log location, of course it will be elsewhere. So I'll press OK. And the first question I get asked is, do you want to set up a Twitch channel? Meaning, am I a Twitch streamer? For this video, I will presume that I am not a Twitch streamer. Henceforth, I do not want to use Twitch to post logs. And that will completely disable this entire Twitch functionality, which is, well, why it was there in the first place. So, this is the application itself. It's not that bad. Because it already found my logs, you can see that it actually did scan all the directory with the logs and found that there are 728 of them. It's quite a lot. And of course I can open the logs itself as well I did before. It's very similar. And yeah, we have a bunch of other settings here. Of course, upload logs, that's, come on. That is hopefully very obvious what that is. We have an option to anonymize reports, which is a thing dps.repot does. You can anonymize all the reports, so you don't have to show who recorded and who you played with. It will just put some garbage data in. Detailed War versus World reports, which are very important to have them toggled on if you do plan to use War versus World features, as in mostly the logs itself, which I would also hardly recommend to have this turned on at some point. But for this purpose, let's presume we are a PvE player. We play fractals with a certain group of friends, and we also play raids, and we pug raids, and we just want to dump all that data into one server, into one thing, and just to showcase all the functionality here. You may also notice that there is an Leva integration. If you do have a Leva, you can connect it connect her directly to the uploader, and that way you can upload the logs that way if you prefer a Leva's way to display the logs than what you will see here. So, additionally, there is some arcdps plugin manager, but I will not talk about this in this particular instance. I will only talk about how to set up things. So, because the uploader already found this default folder of the logs itself, it already set up almost everything I need to do on the uploader part. So, because I now have logs here set up, like there are some logs in the directory, and I have upload logs on, I can actually go and kill this golem now, and it will produce a log, and that will actually upload. So I will actually showcase this exact thing. And note that you do not have to kill these. You can technically not kill these golems, and it will count as, well, if you just run away, it will not count as a success, of course. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just simply gonna just run away. And my jagged horror is keeping it in combat. There you go. I'm not in combat anymore, and I'm gonna switch to the application, and you can see it already did the upload. It had detected that there is a new log, which was .zvtc, which is the file extension, the zip evtc extension, and there is a link now, which I can click on now. So I can click on it, and it will showcase, hey, result failure. Well, because I did not kill the boss, but it does show all the damage and everything. This is exactly the link to dps.repot, exactly what I kind of wanted. So now, how do we connect it to this dummy Discord server I have set up? Well, we're going to use the Discord feature within Discord itself, which is called webhooks. So first, in the application, well, I guess I can start with a Discord itself. In Discord, I can right-click any channel if I have the permissions to do so. I can do Edit Channel. And while editing the channel, and if you do have the Manage Webhooks permission within Discord on that particular Discord server for those particular channels, you should be able to see Integrations tab. In the Integrations tab, you can go to the webhooks, and you can simply create a webhook. You can name the webhook whatever you want. Let's say, like, let's go with fractal logs, for example. And we can also set an avatar. To be honest, I don't want to set it out now, but you can do a custom avatar here. And we were going to use this copy webhook URL in a few seconds. So within the application itself, now to connect it with that webhook, we're going to go to the Discord webhooks tab. In this tab, we can press Add New Webhook, or we can right-click this white empty area and also do Add New Webhook. So this will open up this horrendously big setting, which might be confusing at first few things, but it should be okay. So first, I'm just gonna give it a name here, what I want it to be named within the application itself. Let's go with fractals. So I only want this to trigger for fractals. So I'm gonna select unselect all, which will unselect all of these bosses which are set within the application, and I will only press on fractals. So if I scroll down a little bit, now every single fractal, which is mostly CMs here, well, only CMs here, are now toggled on. We can also disable it for specific fractals. We don't have to have them on for some fractals. So, do we want to trigger this webhook if the encounter is only a success, if it's only a failure, or if it's either? Like, do we win, do we lose? Yeah, this is good enough. So now we want to paste the webhook URL. So this is this URL from this particular thing. So I'm just gonna press left click on it. That's gonna say that it was copied. And now I will just simply paste it here. It's a pretty big thing. Also note that I have .canary dot here, which I use the special Canary Discord. That's the official name here. So your link will mostly look like https:/discord.com/API, blah, 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 blah. That's it. If I now close this window and go back into the webhooks here, you can see that this is checked. So this means now this webhook is now active. So if I will now upload any fractal log, which you can do manually if you, of course, like don't want to directly go into fractals, you can test it out manually. Let's find, let's say some, I have Arcdps here, which is, oh, there's some 0 kilobytes one. So this is most likely, oh yeah, this, isn't this the DX11 update? Most likely it is. I'm gonna delete it for now. I'm gonna just take the latest one from, like, oh, it wasn't, yeah, whatever. I'm gonna take this latest one from September 30th. I'm just gonna pick it up and drag it onto the application. And you can see it immediately said that it's uploading the zipped file, and hopefully, there we go. We got the log again. I'm gonna open the log just to showcase it again. There you go, Arcdps. That's me playing Heal Firebrand, it seems. Interesting. I don't remember these people that much. I guess that was the pug I joined. Yeah, oh yeah, that was the pug I joined. Damn, I forgot about this. Anyhow, now this is uploaded. But you can now notice that there's a thing, all active webhooks successfully executed. So what does that mean? Well, if I go to the Discord and I go back to the general tab here, which is what I set up for the fractals, it says fractal logs, Arcdps CM, recorded by Sergeant Plenix. We have the duration, Elite Insights version, and that the result was a success. And now I can just click on this link and, yeah, do I trust dps.repot? Yeah, I trust this website. It will open up the log, and now it's linked to the Discord using the Discord webhooks. If I want to show a little bit more data about these things, then I'm gonna toggle show players and specs in the message up to 10 players, not war versus world. To be honest, this text is not exactly correct when I think about it now. It's actually really not correct. Because it does a little bit more now. I guess I should have updated that when I think about it. Anyhow, if I go back to the app now and I'm gonna drag the Arcdps log again, the same log, okay? The same log. So it will produce a new link because dps.repot does not recognize it as the same file. So you can see that the URL is different. Like this beginning is the same, but you can see that these 4 letters / numbers at the beginning before the dash are in fact different. So if I open it, so this is the W9, you know, yeah, it's the same log, it loaded. But now if I go to Discord, it has a little bit more information. It has, like, who was in the group, what was the account name, what was the character name, what was the DPS, the direct, like, copy of essentially this important table. If you have a war versus world log, it will show multiple information, but only if you have the details things on. It will show how many boon strips are there, how many cleanses were in the entire squad. Of course, the top damage dealers, not DPS, I'm saying damage dealers, who did the highest damage, not DPS, because that's irrelevant in, well, it is relevant in war versus world, but you can have a very high damage within a very low RAM time, just skyrocketing. So yeah, so this is the very bare bones setup. And now I will showcase a little bit more advanced features of the webhooks, just to showcase how it works. So that was a very quick 20-minute setup. You can just go directly from here. You can set up multiple Discord links, multiple Discord webhooks, and you can also set up some conditions for those webhooks, like only trigger, let's say, if we have, let's say, a friend in that fractal, because let's say you only want to post it to a Discord where you have a lot of friends and all of them are doing fractals, and you only want to push to this kind of webhook only if you meet certain requirements. So let's set it up. So I'm again gonna go to Discord webhooks, and we have fractals here. So we can edit those fractals and we can do some changes here. And the only change that I have not talked about was the associated with a player team. So as you can see, there's no team selected because there are no teams right now. But what teams are is you can define players, or specifically the account names of players, and you can then set up some conditions like, are there at least these 3 players inside this group in order to work, and things like that. So let's go configure teams, and I'm gonna create my fractal team. So let's name it like my fractal team. And I want that at least 2 of the players from this list will be in the fractal group. So you separate this by a new line. So I of course want myself to be in a fractal group. So this is my account name in the game, 07930. I can press enter, and now I can set up a different account name. So let's presume I want to set up, for example, this particular person. So I'm gonna copy from here, and we're gonna do this. So at least 2 players from this list. So technically I can add multiple players here. We can add whoever. But at least 2, if there are at least 2 people from this list, it will count as, oh, this team is the correct team. So I'm now gonna close it, and I will go back to the application. You can see there's the fractal team there. We're gonna go back to the edit selected webhook, and we're gonna now change it to the fractal team. So now, every time I will upload a log, and it will be a fractal, it will check whether those 2 defined players, as I defined, which is me and this RXSZ person, if there will be both in the log, it will post to that webhook. So I'm gonna demonstrate it by running this log, which should not have this person in. Maybe, we'll see. Yeah, all active webhooks successfully executed, but no webhook appeared here because it did not meet the requirements. I'm gonna delete these logs just to now use the log which will be good for this webhook. So this should post to the Discord. I hope it will. And yeah, it did. Because we met the requirements of having those 2, at least those 2 people in that webhook, we were now able to filter out these things. So what I can do with this is I can set up, let's say, a fractal statics, rate statics. Of course, we can set up commanders. We can set up war versus world commanders. Let's say only trigger war versus world logs if you're in a squad with a particular commander to be posted, let's say, to the server Discord. Things like that. All of that can be just selected using the team's functionality within the Discord webhooks here. And that's just the implementation with Discord webhooks. There is a lot of other things here you can do with the bot, including you can add your personalized bosses. You can just add a new bosses. You can modify bosses. You can change some of the icons which will be displayed inside the webhook system in order to change some of the looks of some bosses, etc., etc. All of this can be changed, and all of this is able to be used here. So that's it for this 25 minutes video when I talked about just the bare bones setup with Discord webhooks, a little bit of fractals. Of course, I can quickly now go and set up a new webhook. It can be to the same server, but it will be all raids, and let's say only if it's a success, and I can do another things here. We can create another webhook here if it's necessary. And we can just set it up for this server again. We can change how this behaves on Discord itself, so we can personalize it to our need. We can display some important, well, not important, but additional information with regard to the log itself. Let's say how players, who was in, what was the DPS looking like, etc., etc. All of this is now accessible from the PlenBotLogUploader, and I hope you enjoy this little video just showcasing just a very simple task, how to set it up in this uploader in order to just automate the process. Since I now can completely just minimize this, forget about it, and just play the game. Thank you for watching.